are fathers so important to their children? What are the joys and challenges of being a father in today's world? Why should we celebrate dads? Did you know that research shows fathers are central to the emotional well-being of their children? Studies show that if a child's father is affectionate, supportive, and involved, he will contribute greatly to his child's cognitive, language, and social development, as well as academic achievement, a sense of well-being, and a positive self-esteem. Stay tuned for today's Family Shield Father's Day special. I'll be talking with Adam Hautly and Nate Schmoll. They are both fathers of young children. This is Kay Meyer, president of Family Shield Ministries, and your host for today's program. Thanks, Adam and Nate, for being my guests today on Family Shield.
Thank you very much, Kay.
Thanks for having us.
We're happy to have you. I want to begin just by asking each of you to tell us about your family. Adam, tell us about your family.
So my wife and I got married about 2.5 years ago. Her name is Neely, and we live in the Kirkwood area. And about 8 months ago, we had a beautiful daughter named Eloise. And it's been such an amazing ride so far. And we're only 8 months into it, although I can't believe 8 months have already passed.
Flies by.
Yeah, we just popped through our 6th tooth today, and I realized that I just want to tell her not to grow up any further.
Yeah. One of the reasons why I invited you is because anytime I talk to you, Adam, all I have to do is ask you about that baby, and you just glow. You glow with being so happy to be a dad, and it's so exciting to see that because there are some dads out there that really aren't happy about being a dad. So thank you so much. So is Eloise around 8 months? What's she doing new right now?
Well, she's doing something we like to call the face plant, and that's, I think, the precursor to actually crawling. So right now, as she looks at us, she knows she wants to, come across the room or, slide across the floor to us, but usually that just ends with her kind of falling forward, laying down on her face, and waiting for one of us to pick her up.
But very quickly now, she will be beginning to crawl.
Yes, we are already prepping the house for
sure.
Mobility.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Nate, tell us about your family.
So my wife and I were married here in St. Louis about 5 years ago, just a little under. We're both transplants here. We met at church. We have 2 boys, one who is actually 3 years old tomorrow, and then our youngest is 18 months.
Awesome. You were mentioning before we started that your wife asked your almost 3-year-old son a little bit about his likes and dislikes and wrote them down. What a great idea. What were a couple of the things he said as a 3-year-old?
Yes, and so you almost feel like you know your 3-year-old in and out. You spend every waking moment, with him during the day, but this was really eye-opening because he does have favorites. And, for example, his favorite toy is a tractor. His favorite food right now are fruit snacks. What he wants at his birthday party is the word construction is what he used. So bulldozers, tractors, caution tape. And what he wants to be when he grows up currently, he wants to be an excavator operator.
Excavator. Wow, that's a big word for a 3-year-old.
Yes, you can't say it quite that well.
It's probably darling. I asked you, did you tape some of this? Because it probably would have made a good part of the program, but that's great. And your other son is 18 months old.
Yes.
And what is he doing new right now?
He's starting to run a little bit. He's trying to keep up with older brother, and he's trying to emulate everything that he does, which isn't always the best thing, but it makes for a good time, and you can see some of his personality develop right now too. So it's fun to see them interact together.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of times brothers and sisters, sibling rivalry happens. Does that happen even when they're 3 years old and 18 months ever?
It does. We have this train table at home with Thomas the train and all of his friends on there, and the train table is fine. It just sits there, and then no one wants it. As soon as one of the boys goes over and grabs a train, the other one immediately wants that train when it was there right 5 minutes before, free for the taking. So it does happen at that early age.
Well, one of the things that I say when I've done a presentation on sibling rivalry is They're learning how to get along with people. They're learning so many skills, and a lot of times people think it's terrible that they're arguing and fighting. That's going to be their future. They're going to be great friends when they get older. But that sibling rivalry is not always bad. It's helping them learn how to share toys.
Yes.
And when they're 18 months, they really don't do that very well.
No, they don't. There are a lot of tears. There are a lot of pointing fingers and then running to parents. I mean, but it is a learning stage, like you mentioned.
Awesome.
You're a fantastic mediator.
So
Depends on who I help.
If we were to put Eloise 8 months, Karsten 3 years tomorrow, and Drake 18 months into a room together and not do anything to keep them safe, what do you think would happen in just a short period of minutes?
I think Eloise would chew on anything that's in the room. Right now, it's touching it, feeling it, and then all of a sudden going, "Oh yeah, I could maybe try to eat this too."
Yeah, that's what little ones do. Put everything in their mouth, don't they? Yeah. They'd probably get into trouble pretty quickly if we weren't watching them. And how often do you say no? Maybe not so much to an 8-month-old, but do you have to say no to your boys pretty regularly?
I say no all the time. And I also do think that if my 2 boys and then Adam's daughter were in a room, I think our 2 boys would actually be curious and go just look at Eloise, try to get to know her. We have some cousins who are twins that are a little younger than Drake, and Karsten is always so curious about them and so kind to them. So I would be really interested to see how he would
how they do
be around Eloise when no one is watching.
We could get Eloise's first boyfriend.
Yep, just about the right age.
Right.
Awesome. Well, what are the joys that you experience as fathers? And either of you can speak. I'm going to let both of you share that. Let's start with Adam. Just what are some of the joys that you have? Obviously, you love this. I mean, you're laughing and you enjoy her. But what else? What else comes to mind?
I think on a grand scale, I love watching her learn. It's interesting when she has, what we call alone time, where we're not, playing with her. We're allowing her to, look at her toys and figure them out and stuff. And just watching her learn, to me, is so amazing, because I know that what we're watching happen, like we talked about in the sibling rivalry, what we're watching happen is her growing and developing. On a micro or on a daily scale. I love, so when we go outside for the first time in the morning after she wakes up at 6:30 if she sleeps in. She gets up, she eats and things, and then we take her outside just to go sit on the front porch or the back porch, and she gasps with excitement the first time we take her outside. She knows when the door is opening, and she goes, and then, we go outside, and then she wants to take every leaf off of every plant and every flower, obviously put it in her mouth, and then just tear it apart. And it's really destroying my garden, but it's the cutest thing in the entire world, so I can't really stop her.
That's great. Yeah, and joys of fatherhood. What about you, Nate?
The spectrum for joy is so big, and so for the things that really matter, we go to church every Sunday, and to see our 3-year-old run up to communion, and he knows where to kneel. He even sticks his hand out for the little wafer, even though he can't have it yet. He has to settle for the blessing. But so that is amazing because he watches us go up to the altar for communion, and then everything from the things that don't really matter in life, but they're just kind of funny. You get joy out of your son saying, "Go Green Bay Packers" to a Minnesota Vikings fan, and you get a lot of joy out of that.
Yeah, I bet.
And so, and everything in between, they're, like Adam said, they're learning. Carson's putting together sentences, and you think to yourself, where did you learn that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing how much they learn. They say 2 years and 5 years. I think it's 5 years. They've learned 50% of what they're going to know. That's from memory, so I may be saying that wrong. But it's an amazing amount that they do learn and grow so quickly during those years. Yeah, 8 months.
One of the things that I love too, just as far as we started by talking about our family. What's fascinating to me is seeing my wife, for the first time becoming a mother. 8 months ago, and really even before that, because she was so nurturing and so motherly even before Eloise was born. But watching her be the mother to our daughter, to me, is part of that. Watching Eloise grow. Similarly, watching Neely every day just being this amazing mother to Eloise, that to me, I love stepping back and saying, just kind of
it's a joy
watching things happen. And it's pretty amazing.
That's a joy, too.
And no, she didn't pay me to say that. That was from the heart.
That's awesome.
And I would second that. And especially at the ages of our children, Adam and I put a lot of time into our business as business owners with Thrivent. And I will be the first one to say that my wife has the harder job and the more important job than I do any day of the week.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. How do you balance home and work? And both of you are Thrivent representatives. And so sometimes you're gone at night, but maybe that's a blessing because sometimes you can be there in the morning. You mentioned going outside with her in the morning. That's great. But before we get to that, let's touch on a little bit about what challenges or fears do you have as you have these young children growing up in today's world. Adam?
Yeah, I would say, it's kind of multifold as far as my just consciousness or concerns. I want to be as good of a parent to Eloise that my parents were to me. And so because of that, I'm always aware of what I'm doing. And Eloise is only 8 months old. When she really becomes impressionable, I want to make sure that, I'm behaving in a way that not only is saying the right things, but also doing the right things, because I know that the doing part is actually what she'll be more conscious of than just the things that I say. I look back to when I was a kid and, as we were talking about technology and the different changes and stuff, I know that things are going to look entirely different in 10 years in our world and such. And so just, being flexible and conscious to allow her to learn, but also allowing her the freedom to pursue the things that she wants. That's, when I look at her and I think, oh my gosh, she's so cute. I just want to pick her up and hold her. It's like sometimes I need to understand that, my fear of not giving her enough independence is really important to be conscious of.
Right. And what we need to remember, too, moms and dads and me as a grandma, is that every day is precious, and it's the only day that you will have them at that specific age every day. I mean, they're growing so fast right now. But coming from a perspective of a grandma and looking back at my children as they grew up, where did that time go? I just sometimes think, I can't believe that time just flew by, and thank God for pictures and memories. Keep track of those things. Nate, what about you? Challenges or fears that you have or think about sometimes with your family?
Yeah, I think a big challenge for me is patience. You always expect your 3-year-old to know everything and to do everything and to clean up his toys, and even your 18-month-old to be able to eat his food on his own and without any help and things like that. And I think sometimes we have unrealistic expectations over there or with that. So I don't know. It's I just need to be mindful of patience and not, because like Adam says, they listen to every word and they see your actions that you don't even think that they're seeing or hearing. So just to be conscious of that and be patient.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I say all the time when I teach about parenting is, as fathers or mothers, learn to say, I'm sorry, will you forgive me, to your children, and they will learn how to forgive you, because parenting is the hardest job you will ever have and will never be perfect. We will lose our patience. We will get angry. But thank God children forgive us. But we need to ask for their forgiveness, because sometimes we expect them to say, I'm sorry, to us, but we forget that the best thing we can do is say, hey, I messed up, I got mad, or I did something wrong. Will you forgive me? Start when they're really young, because they learn that really quickly. I have a few announcements I want to make. Today, Family Shield is giving away the booklet, Parenting Families, Practical Strategies for Families. To request a copy, call the Family Shield Response Center at 1-877-250-8416 or email us at witness2family@gmail.com. You can sign up to share your Thrivent Choice dollars with Family Shield. If you are a Thrivent financial member, you can designate your Thrivent Choice dollars to support us. Go to the Thrivent website at www.thrivent.com and then /Thrivent Choice, or call them 1-800-847-4836, and their staff will help you do this. Remember that you need to renew your support with Thrivent regularly. We encourage our radio listeners to pray for us and donate a tax-deductible gift of $25 or more to help us to continue to pay for radio airtime. Our program, as you know, is heard on 53 stations throughout the United States. Although the gospel is free, radio airtime is not. Each person that donates $25 or more and mentions our special offer will receive a copy of my newest Bible study, Balance, Christ-Filled Living. You can donate your gift on our PayPal account at www.familyshieldministries.com or send a donation to Family Shield Ministries, P.O. Box 230015, St. Louis, Missouri 63123. Again, remember to mention the special offer or write the word balance on the memo or in a note. Today is our Father's Day special. I want to thank my husband, Chadden, for being a great dad to our 3 children and a great grandpa to our, not a great grandpa, but a great and then grandpa to our 3 grandchildren, especially as we celebrate our 50th anniversary this month. You are an awesome husband, father, and grandfather. Thank you. Now I want to go back to our Father's Day special with Adam Hautly and Nate Schmoll. They are Thrivent Financial Associates, and they mentioned that briefly in the interview. We talk about Thrivent Financial Choice dollars, people that support us from the radio listening audience. And I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but just tell our listeners about Thrivent Financial, what you do, and how they might learn more.
Yeah, so Thrivent is a not-for-profit financial services company, and Nate and I are both advisors and financial associates here in the St. Louis area. And we appreciate having a conversation with people that talks about more than just money, but maybe more in the line of how you can be generous by having a strong financial plan. And sometimes that doesn't have to do with the number of dollar signs or the number of zeros behind an account, but instead how you feel and helping Christians be wise with money so they can live generously is our entire mission.
That's great, and that's plenty. We have Thrivent as one of our partners, and their website is on our recommended links on our website. So if anyone is interested in learning more, they can just contact us or email us, and we'll make sure we connect them to either you or someone near them throughout the United States. All right, so prior to the announcements, we were talking about joys and challenges of being a dad. Let's talk for a minute about how you both balance home and work. We touched on it. Just Adam.
Yeah, for me and Nate as well, we actually get to make our own schedule as advisors and business owners. We get to create our own schedule. And Kay, you had mentioned that sometimes we have evening appointments. Sometimes that's the best time for a family to meet after work and such. And so it's interesting. There's days when if I'm leaving at 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning because I'll start late for that day, that I tell Eloise, well, I'll see you tomorrow morning, and it breaks our heart and stuff that I won't get to put her to bed and such. But because of that, it's really important to me to make sure that I'm being intentional about the time that I'm spending with her. So there are days when I work in the evenings that I won't start until 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, and that means that I get the first full awake time before she goes down for her first nap. I get to spend that with her, and that's really important for me to carve out, because otherwise I don't get to see her grow in all these little steps that make her who she is at 8 months old.
and they grow so fast. And it's easy for dads to get so involved in work that they don't have the time for their children. Nate?
Yeah, I'd like to echo what Adam said about our flexible schedule, and I think it's all about communicating with my wife because every week is different. I'll have some evening appointments on a different night throughout the week, and especially if it's bath night, I try to make an evening appointment for that so I don't have to help. Just kidding, Julia. But anyway, it's just about communication because there are some days when I ask Julia what she's going to do with the boys, and she might go swimming with them, and I might take that day off and go to the pool too. And so I think that's really important to our boys, especially at this age, that I'm active with them, and we try to set our schedules around time with the boys.
Awesome. Well, we also I wanted to ask you just a little bit about your dads, if you can. We don't have a lot of time for that, but I can tell just from meeting you that you both have dads that influenced you in a positive way. And all research shows dads are important. I mean, there's a lot of people in today's world that are trying to say, we don't need men anymore, we don't need dads. But the research shares that is inaccurate. Just make a few comments about your father. How about Adam first?
My dad wrote to me in my baby book, and I'm guessing I was a couple months old by then, but he said that when he first held me at the hospital, he looked at me, and I'm the oldest, and so I was his firstborn, and so that was what made him a dad, and he looked at me and he goes, "This is going to be awesome," and he was in the delivery room shortly after Eloise was born. Our whole families were in there and stuff. And I looked at Eloise, and I was holding her right next to Dad. And I just looked at her and I said, "Dad, this is going to be awesome." My dad has been such an amazing mentor and friend also, but in a way that I think only a parent can be. It to me was just so incredible to grow up in a household where I knew, even if he was working late, which I'm very conscious of and stuff, that he still absolutely, was head over heels in love with his 3 children. I have 2 younger brothers, Sean and Jacob, and when we get to have our yearly family trip together and stuff, when the whole family gets together, or when it's just a boys' extended weekend, like we just got to have back in March, it's some of the greatest time to be able to share that with my dad. You mentioned a study. At 18 years old, the studies say that you've spent 93% of the time with your parents that you will. And so when I look at that, and being age 35 now, that's really important to me to understand that I only have 7% left to make sure that I make the most of that and spending with my dad.
Yeah. And that
and mom.
Granddaughter is your dad's first granddaughter.
We did have the first grandchild, which Sean and Jake, I'm really sorry, but Eloise is going to be spoiled rotten.
Yeah, well, they all are. I can tell you. Yeah, they all are. I talked to one of my friends recently who is getting older, and she said, "Kay, I have 21 great-grandchildren." Great-grandchildren. I'm like, whoa. And she was a wonderful mom and grandma, and now great-grandchildren. Nate, what about you?
I had a really great relationship with my dad, just like Adam did and does. My memories always go back to baseball. That was such a big part of my life, and I can remember even T-ball. We would lose, or I'd have a bad game, and he'd always look at the positive. He would say, "Did you have fun?" And I would say, "Yes," but we didn't win. But he always focused on having fun and the positive things in life. And, "Hey, you get to go out and play tomorrow. Isn't that awesome?" And he would just reiterate that, and it's a new day, a new game. So a lot of my positive vibes, if you will, or my positive personality has come from moments like that could have easily gone the other way.
Absolutely. That is awesome. Go ahead.
And then furthering my career, we would travel a lot of road trips, and I would spend a lot of time in the car with him. And that was just a great time to talk about life. A lot of times I would view them as lectures, in one ear and out the other. But I did pick up a few things, and it was really invaluable to me. And just to have that person that you could look up to every day, that he cared so much for you that he would do anything for you, and you just knew it without him ever saying it. And he would always back me up and be a positive influence.
Awesome. That is so awesome. I love to hear that because a lot of times we're hearing from families that are broken. And by the way, the research of the impact of fathers, it doesn't have to be a biological father. It can be a stepfather. It can be a father figure. But for the listeners that maybe are single moms with children, the influence of a father or stepfather or father figure is very important. So we have like 2 minutes left. Just a quick comment from either of you.
I can't wait to see, and yet at the same time, I want time to really stop so every day can be even longer than 24 hours or maybe the 8 hours that Eloise is actually awake that day. But I can't wait to see every day as she grows. It to me is so cool to see everything that she learns every single day because she's a new person every single morning.
Absolutely. That is awesome. I just have a couple minutes here before the end, and I just wanted to mention we've touched on a lot of this. Research shows that there are 6 traits that build healthy families: commitment to each other's welfare and happiness, appreciation and affection. I can tell your families and you show that. Positive communication. You talked about your dad's positive communication. Spending time together. Spiritual well-being, which we didn't have a lot of time to touch on. We'll leave it for another time. The ability to cope with stress and crisis, which is one of the most difficult things to implement. We, through Family Shield, try to help our people that we touch learn those 6 traits, learn how to implement them in their families. You guys are already doing a lot of that, it sounds like, because you have a firm foundation from your parents and your mom, dad, maybe your grandparents. I didn't have time to check on that, but this is awesome. It's so great to hear the enthusiasm that you have for your wife and your children, and I'm so thankful to be able to just learn more about that today. I want to mention again that my guests have been Adam Hautly and Nate Schmoll, and they are both Thrivent associates, financial associates for Thrivent Financial. This is Kay Meyer with Family Shield. If you'd like to learn more, go to our website at www.familyshieldministries.com. Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to Family Shield, a production of Family Shield Ministries. Its mission is to educate and equip people through the power of the gospel to know Christ, grow in His Word, and to strengthen individuals and their families. To learn how you can obtain resources or support the ministry, go to www.familyshieldministries.com or write Family Shield Ministries, P.O. Box 230015, St. Louis, Missouri 63123. And tune in again next week for Family Shield.